Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Going into the year, people are like, Bombers are old now. They're all 30-plus. They're an old team. Did you guys hear that noise, and did it motivate you at all? Or is there something else that motivates Willie Jefferson?
You know, the hate is always going to be a motivation for anybody that wants to move forward or succeed in any occupation or any endeavor or whatever it may be. You always want somebody to talk down on you so you can prove them wrong and things like that. But you always gonna have that. But the only thing that motivates me is just being great in my family. You know, trying to show my wife, my daughters, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, friends, you know what I'm saying, my city, my state, you know, anybody like the young kids from my city, from my state, you know, from anywhere that grew up like I grew up, you know, that wants to be, you know, a football player or a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or anything you want to be. Like, you just gotta wake up and want to be great and not settle for less, not settle for mediocrity, and you know, be that. You know, I love my family. I love my city. I love my state. I love the CFL. I love my coaches. I love my teammates. These are the things that motivate me every day. As long as I can have those people behind me, I can wake up and I know I can be great and they're going to love me.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Oleg in Winnipeg writes in, says, Rod is fighting so hard. My awesome comments. One day I'll win him over for one. Well, at least you're now speaking in first person. The fact that you've been writing in third person for several years, I refuse to read your comments in third person. So that's why, Oleg, if you spoke like a normal person, I'd read your comment. How about that?
How about that? This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Yes, it is. Welcome. I feel like we're coming in hot on the RP show. Great to be here. Hope you're having yourself a great day, because I certainly am. Down here in the beautiful South Florida studio, Moose is in Toronto, and I'm excited because of our guests today. We'll get to that in a second. We have a lot to talk about, so I don't want to fiddle fart around, Moose. Just what's going on? What's new? How are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm ready. Let's have a great show. But a wild day. I know you're going to get to all these points, right? Like, this is kind of a historic couple of days we've had here.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. Our guest today, Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet Winnipeg, is going to be with us. And then the peerless Brad Johnner from the Johnner Brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know that name, you're gonna. Canadian country music icon, Brad Johnner. That is a fact, Jack. Darren made me realize before we went to air, to be honest, how old I am. We've established that I'm very close to becoming a senior here in Florida. I'm okay with that. Brad and his brother Ken, they won Entertainer of the Decade in 1999.
How about that?
A generation ago. But he is like the spokesman for Telemiracle 48, of which we've been brought on board to help promote and support. And you people better start supporting it, too, through our donation page in telemiracle5050.com. And they're great Saskatchewan traditions. Brad, when you see him and when you hear his voice, you're going to know that he is all that, and he's going to bring back a lot of great memories. So, Brad, we grew up about 40, 45 miles apart. He from Mydale, me from Milestone, and a lot of people will say, what's the difference? Well, if you don't know that, you'll never get it, but it's a huge, huge difference. Brad Johnner from the Johnner Brothers is going to be with us. A really big deal. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please? Whoever's the director today. I think it's Bryce. I invite all the comments on the YouTube stream right now and the Sober Carpenter text line 902-518-3033. Fire them at us. But I kind of like this. The one big story. Most days, everybody's is different, but today, I don't even need to ask you, Darren. It's On the radio in Miami today, they called it White Wednesday. You heard of Black Monday when they fire all the coaches in the NFL? How about White Wednesday? And you know exactly what they were referring to in me. Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, and Pete Carroll all out from their respective NFL or college football positions, and they're all white. So, hey, I didn't say it. They did. I'll say it again. Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, and Pete Carroll all out. All of them, coincidentally or not coincidentally, in their 70s. And it's dominating discussion. Here on ESPN radio, they were saying this is one of the most historic days in the history of sport. And I don't think that's overstated. Again, Bill Belichick out in New England. We can spend 2 hours on this, and gosh knows all networks and channels are. And he wanted to be back. So did Pete Carroll in Seattle, we understand. The owners in both cases, Seahawks and Patriots, wanted to change. Nick Saban walked off into the sunset on his own with his 7 national titles, 6 from Alabama. And that's going to be our poll question, which we'll get to in a moment. But, again, it's quite a day. It's the changing of the guard, and I don't know that they'll ever adequately be replaced. I don't feel like they will. Do you?
No, I don't. It's very rare that you replace a legend with a legend and have, the same type of success. It just doesn't happen in sports. I'm sure there's instances, but off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of a transition from one legend to another, and I can't think of one. In the NFL, the best, job of replacing coaches has really been in Pittsburgh, where they've consistently been good. They haven't been great lately, but going from, was it Bill Cowher to Mike Tomlin? Bill won a Super Bowl, and Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl years later. That's maybe the best instance I can think of where you've had continuity and haven't had a big drop-off. But you're right, big day. On the Pete Carroll thing, I can't imagine any of these coaches wanted to be done coaching. Pete Carroll apparently sticking around as an advisor, but now his name is popping up on everybody's coaching list for the vacancies. So if he gets asked or interviewed for a job, he's going to be listening. LA's very close to him, so the Chargers are right up there. Man, it's pretty unprecedented. The 3 coaches all done at the same time.
Ryan McCarthy checking in from upstate New York says, "Good day, Rod Squad. What a crazy less than 24 hours in the world of college and pro football." Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, Stam Peters, Huff Nagel to Dave Dickinson. I'll allow it. Dave did win a championship since, for sure. But the one hilarious thing, and I'm glad we got all this time today to spend some time on these topics. I heard Nick Saban was at his desk today at the facility in Alabama, at the football stadium in Tuscaloosa. Nick Saban showed up for work today. And yes, it's funny. You just announced yesterday you're retiring. You're done, Nick. Go home. But I understand it, and it's not just a sports thing. Anybody of my age and more, if you've done one thing for a very, very, very long time, and like that, it's over, it's very difficult to make the switch. It really is. And to be honest, we've talked about this with Tom Brady. Yeah, Belichick was the coach in New England for 20 years, but Tom was the quarterback there for 20-plus years. Tom was lost for a while afterwards, too, when his whole career was over. Saban, Nick, go home. Man, we could sit here and fill several days of stories of guys that just were lost. You're shell-shocked. But you do need to move on. I've really enjoyed, from Vancouver Electric Football Network, that's the name of the account, Vancouver Electric Football Network, writes in and says, "Nothing's forever." I believe that to be true, I guess. Serena and I have debated that. We'd like to think that's not true. But maybe it's just in sports. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that. But just with Belichick, here's my take on Bill. Teddy Bruschi was quoted, the Hall of Fame linebacker of the Patriots, as saying, here's the way Bill Belichick coaches. Take a wet towel and wring it, and then wring it some more, and wring it until there's not a drop left in it of water. And then you toss it away. You, as the player, are the wet towel. Bill Belichick's the guy ringing it. And that's every ounce of talent that you have, every ounce of effort that you have, every ounce of mental strength that you have. He gets it all out of you. And then when he's done, you're done. You're done. And that's the way that it is. And so nobody's disputing that he's not the best coach in NFL history based on championships. He's got 6. The problem that I have, and they were discussing this morning in Miami radio, is the way that he treated Tom Brady. A little bit of a life lesson here, because I've worked in corporate culture of radio stations. I've worked with teams and now in the recovery world. Not everybody's treated the same. They aren't. You'd like to think that they should be. They aren't. There's different rules for different people, but not in New England. And they talked about Bill Belichick humiliating Tom Brady in front of his teammates, embarrassing him. And not just, they called out Randy Moss, called out Mike Vrabel, called out Vince Wilfork. Everybody was treated the same. And a lot of the lefties, liberals, would like to say, we're all the same. No, we're not. Said it many times. God did not create us all the same. There's different rules for different people. And I just don't like the notion of somebody being humiliated by their boss, their leader, their coach. So I personally have a problem with that, because Joe Rose, you hear me talk about him all the time here from Miami radio. He played for the Dolphins in the 80s. He said Don Shula treated Bob Greasy and Dan Marino with respect. He didn't treat everybody with respect, but he treated his stars with respect. And this is the guy that Belichick's chasing for the #1 all-time wins in the NFL in the regular season. So there's 2 different ways. We talked about this in the morning meeting, Darren. There's 2 different ways to lead. The way that Belichick does, grind you, get everything out of you, and if you want to win, that will work. But it does upset people at the end of the day, versus the Shula way, and that's show respect, show love. You can win championships that way too. So that's my take on Belichick. Agree or disagree?
Yeah. The one interesting thing with Bill and that style is he lasted 20 plus years. I don't remember what the final year total was for Bill, but he lasted. Usually when you have guys like that just get everything out of you and are really hard on you and squeeze every drop of juice out of the lemon and then throw it in the compost, usually they're 2-3 years and done, because you exhaust those players and they don't soak up water again. Right? Once you wring them out like that, they're done. So you need a different voice. So the fact that he could last that long and keep the players coming back and keep them engaged enough to win 6 Super Bowls, that's pretty remarkable. That'll go down as one of his legacies. But man, that can't have been easy for his players to play under that situation.
And yet they did win. Some of them loved him, some of them did not. But we could go and talk about this forever. It's not the Patriots show, though. But I mean, I get it. Tom Brady had his own personal trainer, his own personal nutritionist, and the other players didn't. And he was traveling with the team for a while. Watch the documentary, The Man in the Arena, about Tom Brady. And Belichick's like, you're not bringing your own personal coach on this plane. He can't stand on the sidelines at games. And Tom's like, I'm the one leading you to these Super Bowls. So anyways, from John he says, it's hard to walk away. Ask Wayne Gretzky. I think it's kind of funny that Nick Saban showed up for work today. I mean, that should not surprise anybody.
He doesn't know what else to do.
I rattled off. No, he doesn't know what else to do or nowhere else to go. Same thing for me. I swear to God. 23 years at the radio station where I worked as voice of the Rough Riders, gone forever. Missed every Thanksgiving, missed every family holiday, missed everything. Doing hockey all winter and football all summer. I missed it all. And the first Thanksgiving that I was there after being fired as voice of the Riders, my family looked at me down the supper table and said, what the hell are you doing here? They might as well have said, who the hell are you? Because you haven't been there forever, and then you're there. Do you know what I mean? Sort of like Nick Saban's going to have a cup of coffee with his wife in the morning. What? He hasn't for 50 years. So now they need to find a way to live. So anyways, before we move on, the poll question today is this. It's for Key Auto Group. Key Auto Group is driven by safety, experience. Oh, because we got so many delicious things to get into, we got to move on. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. Which one of those three will be the hardest to replace? Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, or Pete Carroll? And it's pretty much universal from what I've heard today since this news came down, and then on the poll, everybody's saying Nick Saban will be the most difficult to replace. And you had something on that. Before we move on to the NHL story, I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee. I want to talk about the CFL winter meetings, wild card weekend coming up. You had something about Saban and why he quit. I didn't see the news conference, but you said you did?
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't from the news conference, but this is just a general consensus from people who know him, from people, in college football. And, you look at Deion Sanders, his tweet about the GOAT and respectful and on the way out. But he also said along the lines that Nick Saban doesn't want to be around this next era of college football. The game has changed so much from NIL, from the transfer portal, and it's become a lot different. And that takes a lot, to change the way you do things and enter that kind of dirty business that college football's kind of become. And, Nick kind of said, hey, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to go through this big change. Too old. I've been there too long and not ready to do it. And that was kind of what Deion said. He said, we all need to look in the mirror and be honest about what you see when it comes to college football.
Yeah. And hey, the big story. This is, you walk into the coffee shop, this is what they're talking about today. And our text line reflects that, 902-518-3033 for Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for them by name at your local beer, wine, and spirit store. Natasha's watching in Winnipeg. She says, good morning. Just like I said, Nathan Rourke is young and needs to learn. These old guys in the NFL need to ride themselves into the sunset. I don't get what the U.S.'s obsession is with aged gents running the show. Results, Natasha. Results. At the end of the day, when the world stopped burning and we're sifting through the rubble, these guys produced. That's what the obsession is with old white men. People writing in here about John Torrell. Brian in Hudson Bay writes in and says, good morning, guys. Do you guys think Bill and Pete end up anywhere else next year? He says, I got a couple cousins in my deal. Looking forward to hearing from Brad Johnner, as am I. I had a meeting at my club this morning, and my guy, Gary, he's got the New York accent. He's the guy that leaned over to me the one time and said, you still doing that sports announcing? He says to me today on the Belichick thing, he's like, Falcons? That's where he's going, right? The Falcons? Well, that's a discussion for probably tomorrow when Jim Barker joins us and more. What's the next destination for these guys? But that's just, and by the way, Gary is in the very close to the football industry. If he says that Belichick's going to go to the Falcons, might be a pretty good bet that he does. As I said, when we come back, NHL leftovers, they want to talk about Tortorella. That's the audience, and trust me, so do I. Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee. Aaron Rodgers is out. His mouth got him in enough trouble. Finally, it happened. Tonight's NHL slate, a lot to go. CFL winter meetings. We'll be right back. This is the warm-up. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, everybody, we are live on Game Plus Television. That's across 31 U.S. states. We're on your TV. And all across Canada as well, all 10 Canadian provinces, 2 territories. And we're also on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE. By the way, Canada's top men's curling teams are thick into the season, and their eyes are set on a trip to Regina for the 2024 Montana's Brier, presented by AGI. Single draw tickets are on sale right now. They range in price from $24 to only $70, depending on the draw and seat selection. Youth tickets are just $9.99 for all draws. Curling Canada is committed to providing affordable options so the entire family can enjoy this world-class event. March 1st to the 9th in the Brand Center in Regina. Get your tickets now. Don't delay. curling.ca/tickets. Let's bring the Moose back in. I love the messages we're getting from everybody. Trust me, we will move on, but we've hit on the big topic. Bill Belichick out in New England. Pete Carroll out in Seattle. And Nick Saban out in Alabama. And only Nick was the one that walked away on his own terms. Joe Booney writes in. He says, hey, Rod, it's Joe Booney from London, Ontario, Canada. I'm absolutely disgusted with the New England Patriots and the organization, especially Robert Kraft. After Bill Belichick given everything in New England, 6 Super Bowls, and they go out and part ways with him like this, I will never have any more respect for that organization, and I wish that team the worst for the years to come. Pooh. I added
Spicy.
That, but I felt like it needed it. I just saw this the other day, that 2024 is the year of the karma. I did hear that. So all the people that, and what they say in New England, you've never made the team. You never get the tracksuit because on any given day, you could be cut. That's the way he ran the team. Now it's, Bill, come to our office, bring your playbook. You're done. So, again, that's just me. I don't like the way he runs his team and treats people. That's all. Can't argue with his success. You can't. But I did hear that this is the year of the karma. Okay, moving on to hockey. NHL leftovers from last night. Valerie Nichushkin scored 2 power play goals. Nathan McKinnon had an assist to extend his season-opening home point streak to 23 games. And the Colorado Avalanche beat Vegas 3-0. I think the Golden Knights have lost like 5 of 7 or something. In Dallas, Rupe Hintz, Joe Pavelski, Tyler Seguin, and Jason Robertson scored. And the Stars beat Minnesota 7-2 to sweep the home-and-home set and the season series. And in Philadelphia, this was a hell of a game. Sean Couturier scored the lone shootout goal, and Philadelphia overcame an early deficit to beat Montreal 3-2. Today, by the way, is the last day of voting for the NHL All-Star fan vote. I have written here who should get in. Let's push that to hour 2, because I'm not done yet. We'll come back around to the NFL and Pat McAfee and Aaron Rodgers, because I'm dying to talk about that too. I'd like to think that's the talk on Coffee Row, and I'm sure that it is. But last night in Philly, Flyers coach John Tortorella lashed out at a beat reporter during his post-game news conference, questioning a report surrounding the trade of top prospect Cutter Gauthier Monday. Gauthier told Flyers GM Danny Briere that he wouldn't play in Philly. Unable to sign Gauthier, Philadelphia traded him to Anaheim on Monday for defenseman Jamie Drysdale. On Monday, a reporter from Philadelphia with a podcast affiliated with the team said, citing an organizational source, that former Flyers forward Kevin Hayes, quotes, fingerprints are all over this. Hayes, now is a former Boston College player, now plays for St. Louis. So Tortorella took issue with the report and the reporter after the game last night. He called out that guy that I don't even know his name, but I did start following on Twitter this morning. Did you see the clip? You must have. You're in Canada. They must have played it. Tortorella was like, is the guy here that has the podcast? And they're like, yes. And they just ripped his ass. And for a good and obviously he should. But that idiot, which again, I don't know his name. Somebody can write in and tell me whose name I don't know. I don't really care. He came out on Twitter today and said, yeah, Torch ripped me without being prompted last night. That'll entertain people for the next couple of days. I went in against my own rules, Moose, and read the replies. Dusty from Dusty Picks out in the Maritime said, you should have your credentials revoked. And I agree. Any jabroni with a microphone and a laptop can have a podcast, and you've got to be careful with this stuff. Or don't. I don't know. I'm so out to pasture, I don't know what goes anymore. Whose side are you on this, Torts or the podcaster, or neither?
Can I be on both? I'm on Torts' side. Let's put it that way. I'm on Torts' side. For sure. I'm on Torts' side, not the podcaster or the reporter. You know, and Torts, he said, look, he's like, Hayes and I didn't agree on this, but he's a good man. And that, you know, tells you a little bit more about John Tortorella and why he's been able to stay in the game so long and have such an impact. Because while he may do things his own way and hold people accountable and be hard on people, I think he still respects people. And I think, you know, Kevin Hayes and him might not get along or might not have agreed on this, and it might have been bad the way it ended. There's still a respect level there. The only thing I think that was good about the guy who had the report, when Tortorella asked, said, is the guy here? He said yes. He said yes, and he put himself in the line of fire, where I think, you know, a lot of guys would have slunked into their chairs and tried to sneak out of the room. But there's no excuse. Like, there's no way that it's right to try and accuse somebody of that. And because look at the damage it does to a person. You have to think about human beings before you carelessly report things.
It doesn't help matters. Let's put it this way. I'm looking up the guy. Is he? Yeah, here, Anthony Sanfilippo. Anthony Sanfilippo. If you look up his Twitter profile, looks kind of what you would think. And here's the problem. It said the podcast is affiliated with the team. No, it's not, other than the fact that it talks about the Flyers. That's about it. Like, here's his Twitter bio, Anthony Sanfilippo. NHL Flyers and Phillies writer for Crossing Broad. I guess that's a blog. Host of Snow the Goalie and Up Phillies podcasts. Marketing by day, director and actor by night. Dad 24/7, 365, verified by me.
How about that?
Here's his tweet. Well, Torch just lit me up in his press conference about Kevin Hayes, completely unprompted. That ought to be a joy for everyone for the next couple of days. What a maroon. Unprompted? Kevin Hayes, if you saw his quotes, he's saying he's got death threats. Because this donkey reported he was behind Cutter Gauthier not wanting to come to Philadelphia. How can you not see that? You said give the guy credit for putting his hand up and saying, yeah, I'm here. That's because he's too stupid to realize he shouldn't even be there, let alone admit that he is. Yeah. Like, if that guy still has media credentials by the end of the day, there's something wrong. Which, if you notice, Serena and I do the podcast. What is it called? Cats and Bolts. Nowhere do we say that we're affiliated with either the Florida Panthers or Tampa Bay Lightning. We don't say that. And just on the weekend, we got a new sponsor, Pizza Pies in Deerfield Beach. I said they're the official pizza pie of the Cats and Bolts podcast. Because guess what? It doesn't reflect on neither the Panthers nor the Lightning. People have said, you guys need to use the team logos on your... No, we don't. We are not affiliated. This guy's trying to make it look like he is, and he doesn't even understand that that's a problem. Anyways, clearly I'm triggered. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in and says, I'm old enough to remember when credibility was a thing in sports media. Too many people these days seem to think it's automatic with a fancy microphone, internet access, and a green screen. From two old white guys, me and Glenn. I'm like, you compared it to Saban. I'm out, I'm done, it's gone. No, it ain't coming back. Goodbye. So speaking of, Aaron Rodgers will not be returning to the Pat McAfee show for the remainder of the NFL season. McAfee had said that Aaron Rodgers' weekly appearances as a guest would come to an end following the regular season. However, the host said he was relieved Rodgers would have a break from appearing on the program following comments the NFL quarterback made last week in which he claimed that Jimmy Kimmel could be linked to Jeffrey Epstein. The comments led to a highly publicized feud between Aaron Rodgers and the late-night host, causing Kimmel to threaten to sue the quarterback. Speaking of guys with podcasts, honestly, I've become a huge fan of the Pat McAfee show. I love what he does. I love what he stands for. I love his work ethic. I love everything about him. But this thing with Aaron Rodgers, it's interesting where McAfee, like, Aaron ruined or tried to ruin the show. Not intentionally, but why are you talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Why are you talking about Jimmy Kimmel? Why are you talking about Pfizer? Why are you talking about vaccinations? I get it during the pandemic when there was no sports. We had nothing else to talk about. Why are you talking about it now? So to come on McAfee's show and talk about these things was incredibly disrespectful to Pat McAfee. So I'm not surprised that McAfee would come out and say, I'm relieved to not have to deal with this every Wednesday. And did you see his quote where he said, we've given a lot of ammo to the people that want to see us fail lately. McAfee fell on his sword. And just last week, I'm glad we're talking about this. Just last week, McAfee, you saw the clip where he outed a guy, a rat, within ESPN who's trying to sabotage the Pat McAfee show on their own network. I can't remember the guy's name. It's like Nobby Livingstone or something like that. And you and I chuckled, and you're like, I can't believe he's had the balls to call this guy out and call him a rat. I'm like, well, it's great that he did, but it ain't over yet. The rats usually win. Speaking from experience, when the rats start firing shots from within inside the walls, guys like me and McAfee, and yes, I am comparing me to him because we both host shows. You might as well start packing your bags and buying a plane ticket because you're done. You aren't going to win that. Because the rats are in the boss's office driving a knife in your back while you're out doing the job and doing I don't have time. Had my former boss call me in and go, there's a couple of guys here that they hate you. They hate your guts. They want to see you gone. The other 98% of this place loves you, but these two guys, they really hate you. I said, I don't give a rat's ass about either one of them. I got a job to do. Are we done? I got to host a show at 4. And they're still there. That's my point. You might as well pack your bags. McAfee, I don't think he's going to win. It's been a hell of a week for him. What do you think?
It's a real shame that Jordan's not here, because that rat impression would make a hell of a gif, that you can use on Instagram. Wouldn't it?
Why?
Somebody's got to clip that.
I don't know. I didn't see
awesome.
I didn't see it.
Anyways, yeah. The thing that we got to remember too, the timing works out pretty perfectly when it comes to optics and the business sense of McAfee, because you get an announcement that Rogers is no longer coming on the show. And it sounds, it kind of seems a lot like a response, and that he's acting swiftly, when in reality, those appearances were scheduled to come to an end anyways. So it kind of works out pretty well that way. We'll see if Rogers comes back next year. But McAfee was in a tough spot. He was in a tough spot because he's trying to have fun, keep it light, talk football, maybe a little BS in here. And then it turns into Pfizer and Epstein and all these. And it's like, oh boy, how do I dance around this while also protecting the relationship with Aaron Rodgers? Because he drives incredible ratings for that show, especially during his free agency and the dark room and all the rest of it, the darkness retreat. So it's a delicate situation, and I think Pat McAfee's handled it pretty well. But as you said, when he's had to, he's fallen on the sword. He's honest. He's open. Yeah, it's a tough situation.
I like him. I like him a lot. I respected the hell out of him. See you in hour 2.
You bet.
I can't wait. The iconic Brad Johnner joins us next. We're going to be talking Telemiracle 48. Get ready, Brad. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues. By the way, everybody, Telemiracle's 50/50 raffle is live now. Telemiracle5050.com. Proceeds stay in Saskatchewan. Will be part of Telemiracle 48, supporting the work of the Kinsman Foundation. Get your tickets today. Telemiracle5050.com. Well, Brad Johnner is like, he probably would argue, disagree, but he's like the face of Telemiracle to me and a lot of Saskatchewanians. Can we bring him in? We meet again,
hey, Rod.
Brad. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, thanks. Good. Thanks for having me. Everybody that
it's been far
calling me from Florida.
Come on down. Well, you got, what is that, windburn you've got? Not a sunburn?
No, it's kind of windburn from the snow. We've got a foot of snow here the last little while, so.
Well, I've heard that. And you are obviously getting ready for Telemiracle 48. I got a lot of questions about your career and stuff. I said a couple of Sioux Line boys reuniting here. But can you explain to me what Telemiracle means to you and how that association began?
You know, on Telemiracle 4, my brothers and I and my dad, we were all a part of the Saskatchewan Talent back in Telemiracle 4, 1979, I believe it was. So we got involved, and then years later, they asked us to be part of the cast, the national cast, and I've been part of the national cast now for, I think, 27 years. So it's been, Telemiracle is, it's a staple for the people of Saskatchewan, and I think everybody still supports it because, there's millions and millions of dollars that are raised every year that just go right back into the communities for the people that really need it. And I think people just enjoy the sense of community here in Saskatchewan. And they just enjoy, being part of Telemiracle. And I just know so many people that would stay up all night still and watch all the 75 talented Saskatchewan talent performers that we have on the show every year. So that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, by the way, this show airs all across Canada and 31 U.S. states. So for those that don't know, Telemiracle is called Saskatchewan's charity. It benefits the disadvantaged and supports the great work of Kinsman and Canettes through the Kinsman Foundation. So let me just say, what is it, 36 hours you guys are live? Tell me a story about that. You've been doing this before Red Bull was a thing. How do you do it?
Well, Telemiracle, for us, it starts on the Monday before the weekend. And we travel all over the province and all over the communities and see where the Telemiracle dollars go and the people that are all invited. Involved with Telemiracle. I think there's over 600 kin involved, and that's all. They just donate their time, and it's such a great organization. And they really are on the sides of the folks that are in need of the funding, and so they advocate for the people that are looking to get some funding for Telemiracle. So, and then of course the telethon starts at 6:15. It's an online. That's a pre telethon. Starts at 6:15 on the Friday, February the 24th. It's called Countdown to Telemiracle, and there's lots of great Saskatchewan talent on there. And then the show goes live on CTV at 9 p.m. on the Friday. On the Saturday. It's a 20-hour telethon, and we go right through until 5 o'clock on Sunday.
There you go. So those are it's a lot of work, probably the busiest work of the year for Brad, there's no doubt. And I feel like I've watched you grow up through that. I've watched Telemiracle grow up through that. But we'll come back around on Telemiracle in a second. But I started working on the radio in Weyburn in 1988. This is my 36th year in broadcasting. And I was playing Genre Brothers tunes on CFSL, country favorites, 1190 CFSL. Brad was in there regularly. I'd see you at Craven. I bumped into you in the bars all over Alberta when I was going to college out there. I'm just a huge Genre Brothers fan. And I got a lot of questions about that. Clark, do you have the picture ready? Will Brad see this? Can you bring it up? This is Ken Johnner. Okay, let's throw it up. Ken Johnner, Brad, one of the many very attractive album covers of the Genre Brothers. And I'll ask you this, Brad, who had the better mullet of the two? Have you had competitions? Have people brought this up? What would be your answer? Who had the better mullet,
Man, I
Ken
tell you,
or Brad Johnner?
You know, I think we got to get the wigs back because Ken's back playing with me now. We're doing lots of Genre Brothers shows, and
I heard
we have fans that come out and they got the mullet wigs on, or I hope they're wigs. I'm not sure if that's coming back or not, but they've got the wigs on and stuff, and so it's still really fun. But I'd say I had the better mullet.
Okay, good. And that's the thing, folks. This is a legit interview, and Brad knows it. So I remember bumping into you at the Ranchmans in Calgary, Longhorns, and I think we can talk about it now. You guys split up at a time, and I said, Brad, is it true you and Ken split up? And you said, yeah, he's now my sister. You remember that conversation? Or was that just a stock line that you told everybody? That you went off on your own?
I think that was a dream you had. I think that was a dream you had.
No, I was drinking back then, but anyways, wherever the Johners were going to be, I was
retired from music 20 some years ago. Somebody came up to him and said, "Didn't you used to be a Genre brother?" He says, "I still am."
You guys got all the lines. Absolute icons in country music. I'm not joking. So your biggest song, I thought, was "Goodbye for Good," but a guy wrote in today, Jeff Blosky, said, no, my brother and me. What would you say is your Johnny Cash song? If you had to sing one song to save your life, what is it, Brad?
Well, we always start our show off with "My Brother and Me" just because that seems to be the most requested song that we've had, and we've had lots of letters explaining how it's impacted different people's lives and stuff. So, that's one song that we play every show for sure. It's all about coming from Saskatchewan, and
yeah, fantastic. Oh, I love it. We all love it. And the other thing, you wrote your first song when you were how old?
Oh, I guess I'd probably been about 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yes, a savant in this wonderful industry of music is Brad Johnner. So I'll wind this up. What's the best pitch for the people out there? Because they can start donating now to Telemiracle. Why wait? Right? Like when they ring those phones, what do you call them, a knockdown?
Yeah.
Let's get the total up now. Why not start now?
Exactly. You can get that. You can come anytime and make a donation. Also, I wanted to mention the 50-50 draw this year. That's a big deal. It started last year, I think. Telemiracle5050.com, and it guarantees the jackpot of $50,000. So you end up with $25,000 automatically, and you can just go to Telemiracle5050.com and buy your tickets right now.
There you go. Wrapped it all up right there. Telemiracle5050.com. And, of course, the big event coming up in late February. Brad, great to see you, man. I love you. Love your music. You guys are awesome. And see you next month. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Rod. Appreciate you having me on your show. Good luck with everything.
Thank you, pal. Brad Johnner of the Johnner Brothers and Telemiracle 48. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and audience takeover. On the way, Sean Reynolds in hour 2 of Sportsnet Winnipeg. We are live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We still, after all this time, have not come up with a name for this segment. We got to do it. Hey, from my guy Mark Westrom, writing in on the 902 line, he says, 10 more miles to Saturday night. We followed the boys around Sask in the 90s. Good times. Signed, Mark. Entertainer of the Decade, 1999. Are we old? From Fake Gainer on the 902. Holy smokes, Mount Rushmore of greats. Brad freaking Johnner. 10 more miles. My brother and me. What a guest. What a legend. And he hasn't aged. How about that?
How about that?
A sports update. Yeah, sports update. Marie-Philippe Poulet scored a hat trick, and Elaine Chuli earned a win in her first game as Montreal beat New York 5-2 Wednesday night at UBS Arena at Belmont Park in professional women's hockey league play. Is that where the Islanders play? I saw criticism online today of there was only 2,000 and change there, and that maybe the bloom is off the rose of the PWHL. Or maybe it's just because it was in New York. I don't know. From the Dub, Alexander Suzdalev had a hat trick and an assist in his second game with the Saskatoon Blades. And it led him to a 7-2 win over the Vancouver Giants. Ho, ho, ho. In Moose Jaw, Jackson Unger earned a 15-save shutty, and the Moose Jaw Warriors downed the Victoria Royals 5-0. In Red Deer, Jeremiah Roberts scored as part of a 3-1 victory for the Red Deer Rebels over the Spokane Chiefs. And in Kelowna, Andrew Crystal and Gabriel Susterk each scored twice as the Rockets defeated the Seattle Thunderbirds 5-2. Sports updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Next hour, we'll get into tonight's NHL games and breakaway Bet Regal bets for our official betting partner, Bet Regal. Dang, people like that stuff. And we're also brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. How about this one? Beginning Friday, The Beekeeper. In The Beekeeper, one man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after he is revealed to be a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers. From the director of Fury and End of Watch, starring Jason Statham, Josh Hutcherson, Jeremy Irons, Dan Lee, Minnie Driver, and Felicia Rashad. That's The Beekeeper in Landmark Cinemas now. Again, 902-518-3033. From Alan in Saskatoon, thank you, Brad, for everything you do for Telemiracle. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, great hair. He does have great hair. I had to buy mine. From Tank, from the Energy City, he says, I just drove by the Johnner family farm. What a beauty guest, Roddy. Keep up the great work. It's not me. It's not me. It was Telemiracle, right, Clark? They put him on.
Bingo!
Yeah. Yeah. From Linda Hackowitz, she says, love you, Brad. See you soon. Oh, they liked when I said, what a maroon. We were talking about that blogger. Like, not a blogger, a podcaster. There's a difference, although barely. Podcasts are like this generation's version of blogs back in the day. I just can't wait until the bad ones fold. Giving us a bad name. Talking about that guy in Philadelphia. I've already forgotten his name. I got to look it up again. Do you remember it, Clark? Do you remember his name? Skill testing question. If you don't, that's fine, because I don't. Nah, he's not even listening. He's blanking. So was I. It's okay. Anthony Sanfilippo. If he, like, his credentials should be pulled by now. The Philly Flyers podcaster, which is, it's not even a Flyers podcast. David in Winnipeg writes in and says, regarding bloggers, well, he goes, big props to Torts on his comments on people saying Kevin Hayes influenced Cutter Gauthier's decision to not sign in Philly. Hayes and his family have received death threats. It's all because of this guy's podcast. He says, regarding bloggers, some people think that if they open their mouths that their comments matter, even if there's no truth to them. The Philly guy should name his podcast Morons with Mouths. That's the problem. Serena and I are going to the Panthers game tonight as podcast hosts of the Cats and Bolts. Knobs like this threaten to bring everything down. Oh, next hour is going to be amazing. Stick around after this brief pause on Game Plus and WQEE.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oleg in Winnipeg writes in, says, Rod is fighting so hard. My awesome comments. One day I'll win him over for one. Well, at least you're now speaking in first person. The fact that you've been writing in third person for several years, I refuse to read your comments in third person. So that's why, Oleg, if you spoke like a normal person, I'd read your comment. How about that?
How about that? This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah. That's a fact, Jack. It's hour 2, and here we go. I'm still on cloud 9. I'm still floating on air that I got to interview Brad Johnner for the first time in like 30 years. Let's bring the Moose in, Darren Moose DuPont. It's amazing that Brad hasn't aged other than the very splashy, cutting-edge eyewear. Obviously, some eye doctor in Weyburn got him set up with that. I don't know who that would be. But, yeah, you ready to have some fun here in hour 2?
Absolutely. And, on Brad Johnner, when I was a little kid in my bed late at night, listening to the radio, tuning in all these radio stations, Johnner Brothers songs would come on. I didn't realize they were from Saskatchewan. I just thought they were another big band from a big city from somewhere, God knows where around the world. You mentioned Little Texas or David Lee Murphy or who else, Kenny Chesney, or who else I was listening to in the late 90s. I just thought they were one of them because that's how good they are.
Absolute country music icons, the Johnner Brothers. Thank you, Brad, and thank you, Telemiracle. And everybody, listen, before we get into the sports stuff, I don't ask for much. I don't ask you for hardly anything. Sit here and entertain every day. Can you please go to our links, my Facebook, my Twitter, whatever, and buy the 50-50 for the Telemiracle, or donate from our own page. We have a modest fundraising goal of $5,000. I donated to it today just to give it a start. Can you please do that for us? Telemiracle's come to us to help promote the event. Iconic Saskatchewan charity, Help us out, please. Because you know where the money's going, to the Kinsman Foundation and the cadets. Anyways, thank you, Natasha. And again, I was listening to the podcast this morning of yesterday's show while I was driving to my meeting of the club this morning. And I said in that, when I was listening back, I said, I'm not right about everything. I have no problem admitting that. That's rare in today's world. I'm not entirely on the ball with everything. I said last hour, what is the name of the last segment of hour one? We haven't got a name for it. Natasha has written in from Winnipeg and says, I thought the segment has a name called the Viewer Takeover. Oh, yeah. Forget I said anything? Hell yes. Can we walk it back a couple of days? The big story, and we haven't even got through all yet of what I want to talk about yet, and we should. I'll get to the NFL wildcard here in the weekend. And the CFL winter meetings, John Tortorella ripping Anthony Sanfilippo, a new one. The Philadelphia podcaster who's what he said on his silly podcast, to quote Torts, has elicited death threats for the Kevin Hayes family. Bravo. And the guy still can't figure out what he did wrong. And then Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee. But the big story, Bill Belichick out in New England. Adam Schefter broke that story. We found out yesterday Pete Carroll's out in Seattle. In both cases, the owners are the teams. See, with the good owners, they make the ultimate decisions on this stuff. Are you paying attention, people? I know you're not. Speaking in an echo chamber. The owners make the important decisions like this. The owners of the Seahawks and the Patriots decided a change was needed at the coaching position. And then in Alabama, Nick Saban has walked. He's retired and hilariously showed up for work today. That was a report, by the way, from an Alabama local TV station. Nick Saban showed up at the stadium, the Crimson Tide Stadium. Nick, you retired yesterday. Go home. So the poll question today is for Key Auto Group, as always. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. Who will be the most difficult to replace? Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, or Nick Saban? I voted for Nick Saban. He's leading. Clark, do you have a definitive numbers? 52% for Saban, 35% Bill, and then whatever's left, thank you, 12% for Pete Carroll. I very callously, Darren, did not ask for your vote last hour because we were pressed for time. So of Saban, Belichick, and Carroll, who is your vote for who will be the most difficult to replace?
Yeah, you don't need to ask. It's Nick Saban. Not to say those other jobs won't be difficult to replace. They will be. I think Pete Carroll and the culture he's built in Seattle, and he's kind of become the identity of that team, that will be very difficult to replace. The prestige around the New England Patriots, that will be tough to replace. But it's Nick Saban because of the recruiting and the pipeline. And you have recruits already decommitting from Alabama after this news. 5-star wide receiver decommitted within hours of the news coming out. But, it's funny, Nick going in there, it's like, well, let me just come in 3 days a week. Let me come in 2 to 3 days a week. He needs to move to the other side of the country or he's going to be in there overlooking the next coach having coffee on a Tuesday morning. So what you doing? Glasses down. Who you scouting? Who you recruiting? Need my help? What can I do? He needs to just move to LA or move somewhere sunny and warm on the coast.
Well, listen, we are the champions here, and I'm not ashamed to say it, of inclusivity, open-mindedness, and quite frankly, you be you, as long as you're not hurting anybody. And, what do they say about Carroll? He's going to stay with the organization. I don't think Belichick is. And then Saban shows up. It's funny. Isn't it funny that he showed up the next day after he retired for work with nothing to do? But that's them because they don't know any other way. To me, it's a little sad. But also that's them, so that's fine. With me, when I left, I was ready to go. I had another career built up in the recovery business. I had a place to go. See ya. I'm out. I was ready, but that's just me. It's not like everybody else, so I'm fair with that. I mentioned the movie The Beekeeper is out in Landmark Cinemas. Mark Zosel's watching in Melfort, where they do the Melfort Shuffle. He writes in and he says, "The Beekeeper is my autobiography, Rod. Go watch it." Coach is the Beekeeper from Melfort.
I've seen the previews. I don't think it's his autobiography.
I almost feel like the only people that really care about the media stories are the media. Although, when you think about it, some of the greatest television shows and movies are about the media, like The Newsroom or the show that Serena got me into, The Morning Show. People do seem to be fascinated with the media, and why wouldn't they? I've studied this my whole life, too. We are in people's homes right now. We're in their cars right now. We're in their hands right now, listening on the right, so they think that they know us. So I get it. But with these bloggers and so forth and podcasters, one more from Glenn in Medicine Hat. He says, "Hey, RP, do you think some of these modern-day internet maroons would benefit from the advice in a solid piece of journalism from 2016 entitled 'The Star of the Broadcast is Always the Game'?" He's talking about a guest column I wrote for, I don't even remember what the website was. What was it, Glenn? It was some broadcast industry website. They asked me to write a column on that. The star of the broadcast is always the game. Google it. Go read it if you think you get something out of it. I don't know. I promised I wanted to. And then there's this Philly podcaster. We talked about it last hour. I'm ready to move on to Wild Card Weekend. I want to say this. It was funny. See if we can wrap this up, because I have a special message to read to you. See if we can wrap this up in just a couple of minutes. I might have changed your mind on who the upset will be on Wild Card Weekend. The only one I can see, I only think there will be one, and it's Tampa Bay beating Philadelphia on Monday night. And why not? The Eagles are going through the floor. They're on the road. I think they've lost, 4 of 5, 5 of 6? But do you still think the Dolphins will go into Kansas City and win after what I told you this morning? And for those that don't know, because this was a conversation in our morning meeting, they're complaining on Miami radio today how mad they are at themselves for blowing it last Sunday night against the Bills here, because had they won, they would have had home field throughout the playoffs, or at least till the conference championship. But no, they lost, so now they got to go on the road to Kansas City and play in the coldest game that the Dolphins have ever played in their franchise history, minus 20 Celsius. I don't know what that works out to in Fahrenheit, but it's about the same when they get to that part of the thermometer. They're complaining about it already. Has that changed your thought process on who will win the game?
Of course. Of course it has. You know, and that's something else you need to think about is the weather and going on the road. And that's why teams like Buffalo or Kansas City or Green Bay really benefit from home field advantage. It's a thing. If there was no home field advantage and everybody played in a dome and the crowds, whatever, we might as well just play neutral site games. This stuff matters. I think it's really great. And I think it'll affect the Dolphins for sure. It'll affect Tua. He's going to be uncomfortable. When he's comfortable and in the pocket and protected, he's a very good quarterback. But he struggles when he gets a little bit uncomfortable. Patrick Mahomes excels when he's a little uncomfortable. Josh Allen, he gets uncomfortable, moves around. He can excel in those situations. I don't think Tua can or has in the past. Excuse me.
No problem. Bless you. Or whatever the hell you just did. That we're inventing a word here right now. That was a snoff. Half sneeze, half cough. That was a snoff. Write it down. By the way, it's 1:11 Eastern. You guys got something for that? It's 1:11 Eastern right now, 11:11 Mountain. And as was pointed out to me today, Darren, it's 1:11 on the calendar today. January 11th, 1:11. You want to read this? Folks, we're big into numerology, astrology. This Thursday, today, a very powerful day for manifestation. Firstly, the date, January 11th, a.k.a. 1:11, is a number that opens a powerful portal for new beginnings and manifesting. And then on this day, we also have the first new moon of 2024 happening, which amplifies energy that supports your manifestations even more. So think about what you want, right down to the most minute detail. Where you want to live, who you want to be with, what your job would be, what you're going to drive. Think about it all. Today, it's turbocharged. Hey, thank you. Interesting that we're talking about football and the hockey fans are writing in. Ain't that something? Like, for instance, Tank writes in, he says, Tua hasn't played good in good weather lately either. He says Chiefs by 10. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Taylor Swift will cost the Chiefs. Was thinking about this morning. True fact, Travis Kelce's trainer was there at Johnny O's this morning. First year in 8 seasons that Travis Kelce hasn't achieved 1,000 yards. Why do you think that is?
What's changed?
You didn't have the energy. Yeah.
It's true. I mean, or at least it's a part of it. I mean, who knows? They lacked other weapons. There's other reasons to go into it. But you know what? It's part of the story. Part of the story. You know? His mind, not just on football anymore.
I'm loving that you're as comfortable as that you're comfortable talking about this, because I'm fine with it. I know sometimes this makes you a little uneasy. But hey, all of this stuff's going to be on the table, particularly depending on how Sunday night goes. I don't think there's any way the Dolphins go into Kansas City. I wanted to interrupt my story to bring you the 111 reading, but I'm not joking, man. Joe Rose, Dolphins radio color commentator, former Dolphins tight end, and he hosts the morning show here on WQAM radio. He was complaining so much, and trust me, I get it. I am out on my back patio broadcasting right now. Our biggest problem today is rain. I had to put on long pants, and I was pissed off. I felt him through the radio complaining about having to leave and go to Kansas City this weekend and play in -20. It's horrible. The thought of leaving this climate. To know that all you had to do was beat the Bills a couple nights ago to play at home. He was so mad. Totally get it. I feel it. And it reminded me of
Kim
the 2013. Oh, well, Kim Beaucamper. We've done shows from Beaucamper's Sports Bar. Kim Beaucamper was a linebacker for the Dolphins. He now is the sideline guy. For you Rider fans listening, Kim Beaucamper is the Willie Cole of the Miami Dolphins broadcasts. He's down on the sidelines. So Joe Rose, who's up in the booth doing color, today he's like, forget about me. Let's check on Bo. His old teammate's going to be down on the sidelines freezing his ass off. That's all they're talking about. They should be talking about the game. You see how the weather fiddles with your mind. I can't stand the people. Football's meant to be played. No, it's not. Whoever said that was an idiot. No. Because it screws up the talent, screws up game planning, a slip on a kick return, fumble. I've seen it. We've all seen it. Now, football was not meant to be played in this crap, but they're going to play it. Troy in Toronto writes today, he says, hey, a lot of us would sacrifice 1,000 yards for Miss Swift. Buddy, if Taylor Swift was giving a concert in my backyard, I wouldn't open the curtains. Allie in Texarkana writes in and says, now Jamie Benn met his fiancée last season and had a resurgence. It can go either way sometimes. Hey, you got to have a good partner. I'm not saying Taylor Swift isn't. Hey, what we do say is look at the numbers. What?
We're not saying that Travis Kelce's not having a resurgence, okay? It's just not happening on the football field.
Bob's your uncle.
Captain Pfizer, are we... Darren in Salt Lake City writes in and says, a snoff is much easier on the body than a burp snart. Yeah. A snoff. We invented a word today. Darren half sneezed, half coughed. A snoff. We'll be right back with our NHL breakaway bets for the night in the National Hockey League. We will get to that CFL talk from the winter meetings and whatever you people would like to talk about. Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee, John Tortorella, Anthony Sanfilippo. Lap it up, Anthony. You're getting your 15 minutes of fame. We'll be back in a moment on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, everybody. Don't forget about the Montana's Brier. Canada's top men's curling teams are thick into the season. Their eyes firmly focused on a trip to Regina for the 2024 Montana's Brier, presented by AGI. It's the Canadian Men's Curling Championship, and single draw tickets are on sale now. They range in price from $24 to $70. That's top end, $70, depending on the draw and your seat. But all kids' tickets are $9.99. Curling Canada is committed to providing affordable options so the entire family can enjoy this world-class event. Watch for more family-friendly promotions in the weeks leading up to the Montana's Brier, but you can get your tickets now at curling.ca/tickets. Let's bring the Moose in. 902-518-3033 is the number to text us on the Sober Carpenter text line, or you can certainly write in on YouTube. Everybody's going boffo about Taylor Swift right now. She seems to be, is she the new America's sweetheart? John Ohm writes in and says, be nice to Swiftie. She's good and wholesome. Yeah, she's bringing down the Kansas City Chiefs. Hot damn. I say that somewhat in jest. But, yeah. yeah. What's on your mind, Darren?
Home wrecker, hey? She's a home wrecker. Who would have thought?
Team wrecker? Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I'll say
Thank you, Greg.
that I thought was pretty funny on the Belichick thing, in one of the commercial breaks, I was looking at clips. I think it was from a press conference, I'm pretty sure, that he's having now or just had, Bill, with Robert Kraft. So it wasn't just an all-out firing. He was up there, and the first thing that came out of his mouth when he looked around, obviously the conference room there was packed. He said, I haven't seen this many cameras since we signed Tim Tebow, he said. And he kind of joked. So apparently he's out. At least he's in good spirits on the way out the door.
God bless him. Yeah, you and I talk about this a lot, and Joe too. Sometimes Clark is in on these meetings. I admire those that can do what Bill Belichick's doing today. Leave him with a smile. God knows what he's thinking inside. Because when I go, I burn it to the ground, baby. That bridge, it's gone. There's nothing left standing. But that's just the way that it is. Different strokes for different folks. That's the big story. It's one of the biggest days in the history of sport. That's what they were saying this morning on ESPN Radio, and I do not disagree. Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, and Pete Carroll out of their respective spots. And I don't know that there will ever be another. I don't know that there can be another because of the transient nature. Whether people like Chris Jones or not doesn't really matter. I do. And he said in an interview one time, the head coach of the Edmonton Elks, former defensive assistant of the Cleveland Browns, here's the time of guys staying, or gals now, in one place for years and years, they're over. And I don't really know how that happened, or why. I don't even really know why that happened, but it's happened. But how long? I don't want to put you on the spot, but what's Carroll been in Seattle? 20 years. Saban's been in Alabama, I think, for 16. Belichick's, 20 plus, 24, 25 in New England. That's not going to happen again anywhere, is it?
No, I think, I want to say Saban, where Carroll was 17, but I'm not sure. It's not going to happen. And you can open your notebook. You can go in your notebook. I know you got it, and flip forward 50 pages. And you can say 2024 year in review show, #1 story of the year. And it's this from the 11th of January. Guaranteed. The Toronto Blue Jays can win the World Series. Trey Ford can win the CFL MOP, lead the Elks to a Grey Cup. But this will be the biggest story of the year. It already is penciled in because it all happened in 24 hours. It's unprecedented. Wild.
Darren, we have 354 days to go. Bite your tongue.
I know.
It could be a hell of a lot more. What did I tell you? 2024 is supposed to be the year of the karma. And wouldn't that be something? Checking the Sober Carpenter text line. Buffalo Bill checking in. Hang on. Buffalo Bill checking in from Minot, North Dakota. He says the RP show is very attractive. And says, by the way, enjoying the show today from 0 Fahrenheit. Cold. He says the winter will be warmer because the Vikings missed the playoffs and hell won't freeze over. Do the Leafs have a chance at failing again this spring? Or falling. I got to get some Harbaugh glasses. Those lenses are the size of bus windshields. He don't care. Hey, and by the way, Darren, It would be a really boring world if we all had the same opinion. It would be nice if we all got along. That would be great. But that's also never going to happen. But this guy, Joe Booney, you know him. You met him virtually while we were at the Golden Corral in Coral Gables, Florida, you and I. God, was that amazing. That was a great day. That might have been the top news story of 2023, the day you and I went to the Golden Corral in Coral Gables, Florida.
That was
I
pretty
had three
great.
steaks and two pieces of red velvet cake and a taco. It might have been the greatest meal of my life. Anyways, Joe Booney. Last hour he wrote in, and he's basically cursed the New England organization for kicking Bill Belichick out the door. And I think it's awesome. Patriots fans love Belichick. He's obviously a Patriots fan. He won them 6 Super Bowls. So whatever. You do you, brah. But he's written back in from London, Ontario, and says, Rod, it's Booney again. I love Aaron Rodgers and his attitude. I think he's the smartest NFL quarterback out there, very intelligent, and the media can't stand him because he says how it is, and he'll be the kid of the year. That's what it says. He will be the kid of the year. Mark my words. 2024, Aaron Rodgers comes back and does something magical. See, Darren, that might beat today's news, which it won't. But again, we got it. That was why this show was invented. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you invented it, not me. But it's for daytime sports talk like this, The View for sports fans. Because the way I look at Aaron Rodgers, it was disrespectful for him to go on Pat McAfee's show and talk about linking Jimmy Kimmel to Jeffrey Epstein and to be talking about vaccinations and Pfizer and all that stuff. It did bring a lot of attention to the show. I'm not sure still if negative publicity is better than none, because McAfee doesn't need that. And why we're talking about it is Aaron Rodgers has, as you say, his contract was up. I'm not sure I even believe that, Darren. You're still of the world. God bless you. You believe everything you hear. The report is that Aaron Rodgers' contract was up once the regular season was over, the NFL regular season. It coincides with his spat with fellow Disney employee Jimmy Kimmel. Now, I don't believe it for 1 second that Rodgers was done at the end of the regular. I'm sorry, man. Do you actually believe this stuff, or are you just trying to be nice?
Well, it's great timing. At the very least, it's great timing.
There are no coincidences.
And they can make the announcement that, he's done on the program for now. We won't know until next football season. If he's back next football season, or if he's back at some point in the offseason, then it's regularly scheduled programming. But I'll be interested to see if he actually comes back. At the end of the day, McAfee wants to remain, I'm sure, on ESPN, probably. So he wants to protect that relationship, but he's also going after people at ESPN too. So they're having fun, at least.
Right. And that reminds me, by the way, he's got a contract. Arash and I don't like the way Trevor Harris was done with his contract. I don't like the way Cody Fajardo was done with his contract by Saskatchewan in a past life. Clearly, I don't agree with the way the Rough Riders are doing business. Arash laughed yesterday and said, oh, no, it's not a deal's a deal. And that's what bothers me. McAfee's got a 5-year, $85 million contract with ESPN, so why wouldn't he want to stay there? Unless they're going to rip it up and find something. But to me, a deal's a deal. Maybe I'm just an absolute idiot. I'm sorry. Shake hands. That doesn't even matter anymore. A written contract doesn't even matter anymore. I got a big problem with that. Call me an idiot. I guess I'm an idiot. Another way that the world's passed me by. But are you ready to play Bet Regal breakaway bets?
I did some number crunching. We've played this 3 times. 16, 4, and 5. Okay. So I'm ready to go.
What's my record?
I didn't do yours. I don't actually have yours in front of me.
Up. Okay. Nice excuse. I did them right alongside you. News flash. Breaking news. Okay. We got to do this fast. New Jersey at Tampa Bay tonight. Who wins?
Tampa.
I'm taking New Jersey. Anaheim at Carolina tonight. Who wins?
Carolina.
Agreed. Carolina sneaky good. Vancouver at Pittsburgh. Who wins?
Penguins.
Agreed.
Although the Canucks got me the last game, I picked the Islanders.
Seattle at Washington. Seattle at Washington tonight. Who wins?
I'll take the Caps.
Me too. San Jose at Montreal tonight. Who wins?
Ooh. Montreal.
Agreed. It'll be a 13th straight loss for San Jose. Edmonton at Detroit. Might be the game of the night. Who wins?
Yeah, that'll be really good. I think the Oilers keep it going.
Me too. Ottawa at Buffalo tonight. The Toilet Bowl. Who wins?
Give me Buffalo.
I'll take Ottawa just for spits. LA Kings at Florida Panthers. The Cats and Bolts podcast will be in attendance. I'll go first. I'll take Florida to win. They're 9th in a row.
Yeah, both on streaks. I'll take Florida. LA's on a streak of the wrong kind.
Winless in 6. Toronto Maple Leafs at New York Islanders.
I will take the Leafs, but I thought about that one for a bit.
I'll take the Islanders. Rangers at the Blues.
Rangers.
I'm with you. Chicago at Winnipeg. The Connor Bedard, Chicago Blackhawks. Who wins?
Give me the Jets.
Yeah, me too. That's the easiest pick of the night. Calgary at Arizona at Mullet Arena. The Johnner brothers should be playing there every night in between periods. The Johnner brothers at Mullet Arena. Calgary at Arizona. Who wins?
Give me the Flames.
Okay, we've got to be real fast. And Boston and Vegas. Who wins?
Vegas.
Cassidy versus Montgomery. I'll go with Vegas too. Moose, you're done. Great job. See you later. Have a great night.
You bet. Take care.
Jets and Blackhawks tonight. We'll tee it up next with Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet Winnipeg. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. When we talk hockey, it's for Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary, Alberta. A commitment to connection and celebration of uniqueness. Visit commoncrown.ca. There are 13 games tonight. Panthers home to the LA Kings. Lightning home to the New Jersey Devils. But very important games in Winnipeg. Chicago Blackhawks there. Sean Reynolds joins us from Sportsnet Winnipeg to tee the big game up. And, Rennie, I'm interested to know what your take is on the game. Is the phrase trap game come out in your circles yet for this one tonight?
I think everyone's waiting for the trap game for the Winnipeg Jets. The trap usually includes lulling a team to sleep, and this really seems to be the superpower of these Winnipeg Jets is not doing that. I mean, there's probably been some games as of late. You know, you could include the last one that they won 5-0 as a game where the Jets had some stretches where they were uncharacteristically a little bit, slower of foot. But the one thing about this team is it never sleeps on its system. It keeps falling back into its system, even when they're not at their best. And the system for this team is really its superpower. It's the reason why they're so hard to score against and why they've been winning so often. They generate a lot of their offense off of their defense. So I would almost say trap game doesn't apply. I would put a lot of money on the idea that the next team that is going to beat the Winnipeg Jets is going to have to come out and just outplay them, punch them in the mouth, and have a really, really great game. Now, you know what? You could all turn around on me. Hey, the last team that the Winnipeg Jets lost to was the Chicago Blackhawks, but they've played the Blackhawks twice this year. The Blackhawks have scored 3 goals against the Jets. All 3 of them have been scored by Connor Bedard. Connor Bedard's not in the lineup. Connor Bedard has beat the Jets this year. The Chicago Blackhawks haven't. So I don't see it happening tonight, Rod.
Stop the presses. It looks like you're in a bowling alley. Where are you doing this interview from?
I'm if I flip things around here, I'm actually in the Jets arena right now.
Oh wow!
This is they've redone the. This was the old Bud Light Lounge. It's the Ticketmaster Lounge now, just an area where fans can kind of loiter but also watch the game at the same time. But I'll let the designers know that it's got a bowling alley feel to it now that you say that.
That's cool, and I think we did our show from there when the National Lacrosse Championships were there, so I know exactly where you're at. That's really awesome. But hey, yeah. You and I have talked very general topics when you're on, but I'm particularly interested to know how Rick Bowness has gone about, what is it, 30 games, 29 or 30 games of 3 goals or less.
30.
That doesn't just happen.
30.
Yeah, how've they done that?
No. And that's what I would say. So this is just basically every single person pulling on the rope for the Winnipeg Jets, because there's been times down the stretch here that, Kyle Connor's out of the lineup in the middle of all of this, and they just keep winning. Now, you wouldn't typically equate Kyle Connor with defense, but in this team, in this structure that Rick Bowness has set up for this team, every single player holds a piece of responsibility when it comes to the defense. And I love this line Rick Bowness had used earlier in the season. I was asking him about Mark Scheifele, and he says Mark Scheifele is the kind of guy who's got a skill set not everybody has. So he's going to look a little bit different in the offensive zone than everybody else. But Mark better darn well look like Adam Lowry in the defensive zone. And the idea behind that is he wants all four lines to look the same. And that means that they play defensively. They're in the right spot. They're covering off the players they're supposed to cover. They're all showing the same kind of effort. So listen, the goaltenders hold a big part in this. Both their backup and Connor Hellebuck. Laurent Brossoit has looked just as good in Jets games as Connor Hellebuck has so far. But the way that the forwards back check, they close things off. They don't give space. It's just constantly setting traps all over the ice for the puck carrier. Their defenders, who everyone said at the beginning of the year weren't big enough, are playing a style that does not allow players to the interior of the ice. This is an entire system, every single guy pulling on the rope. And like you ask a great question. The amazing part of this is the buy-in that Rick Bowness got immediately once the players came back, because we all know how the season ended last year. It was a bit of a disaster. Him calling out his team calling him out right back. A lot of people didn't think that they could get back to this kind of harmonious nature. Give Rick Bowness and his coaching staff credit. They took a tire fire at the end of the year, snuffed it out, and it looks amazing at this stage.
Well, I picked this phrase up here in Florida from the football people, but it translates. They say it's not X's and O's, it's Freddy's and Joe's. It's about relationships. And to be honest, when I look at still photos of Jets games, Mark Scheifele is smiling. Today's player needs to be happy. They need to come to the rink happy. And Scheifele looks happy amongst a lot of other guys. Have I read that right?
Entirely. And I will say this, I mean, a lot of what we're seeing here, there's a different attitude to this team this year. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with leadership. Blake Wheeler was the captain of this team for a lot of years, and Blake was really good at setting a personal example for players to kind of follow and get the best out of themselves. And I think that's worked, and the Jets have benefited greatly from it, because if you think about it, take a guy like Kyle Connor or Mark Scheifele or Nick Ehlers or Josh Morrissey or Connor Hellebuck. If you go back to when these guys were drafted and said, okay, this is their ceiling, I'd argue that almost every single one of those guys has exceeded their ceiling at the NHL level. And I would give credit to a guy like Blake Wheeler for that, because I think he really set the blueprint for them on how to get the most out of themselves. Blake, though, was also, as a captain and a leader, a very, very stern, right? Not a lot of smiles, not a jovial person in nature. And I think what you found with this Jets team is when things were going well, they had a lot of swagger over the last number of years. But when they hit a snag, things got really heavy and really tense, and you could feel it going in the dressing room. You could see it on their faces. Even when they were winning, they'd be celebrating goals without smiles on their faces, and that really was who the Winnipeg Jets were. That's not them anymore. Under Adam Lowry's captainship, under Rick Bowness, under the regime as it stands right now, there seems to have been a real shift. And to your point, that's one thing we've said about Mark Scheifele. He seems to have a much different attitude so far this year. The Jets are enjoying this, but more so, you talked about the Freddies and Joes. The Freddies and Joes on this team have come together. They really like each other. They really like playing for each other. So you're right. When you're talking about there being a different attitude and a more jovial nature to this team, you're bang on.
Thank you, and I defy anybody to say that now it doesn't look like Sean Reynolds is in a roller skating rink. That's what it looks like. The Jets fans are writing in, and they're like, no, that's the rink, Rod. They all know. They know where you are, but I haven't watched 1,000 games in there like you guys all have. And just lastly, this, any danger of peaking too soon? Does that come up?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Do I think that the rest of the season is going to look like the stretch that the Winnipeg Jets have had from December right through now? I think you're going to see a little bit of a correction. I do think a lot of people keep arguing that the teams are coming in and they're seeing the Winnipeg Jets best. I don't agree with that. I think what's happening a lot of times is the Jets, in the way they've played, have a lot of teams, like I thought we saw that from Columbus Blue Jackets in their last game, kind of coming into this game feeling a little hopeless, right? So I don't think that you're necessarily getting their best. But what will be interesting to see for the Jets down the stretch is, now that they've kind of put a mark on their back, you're going to have scouts from other teams. You're going to have coaches really digging into their system, which I've said is their superpower, and thinking, how are we going to crack this system? Down the stretch, you're going to see teams taking runs at them with different kind of ideas. And if teams come in with ideas that work, then it's a copycat league. People watch that tape and they'll play off that tape. So I don't think this is as good as the Jets get. We're for sure, though, I think in the middle of seeing what the Jets are going to be as far as getting results. I think they could be a better team in March and not be winning as many games, but be better than they are right now. This is the peak, I think, as far as what we see from this team getting results. But this team, I still think, has room to get better. Like I said, Rod, they've been doing this without Kyle Connor. He's going to come in and he's going to change the complexity of one of those top two lines, however they decide to figure this out. So the Winnipeg Jets have room to grow, and I expect growth from them.
A wonderful report. Our chats are always fantastic. Thank you for fitting us in, Sean, and enjoy the game tonight.
Anytime, Rod. Thanks for having me.
Sportsnet Winnipeg, Sean Reynolds with another outstanding Jets report. That's a big one tonight. Jets and Chicago Blackhawks. We'll be back with overtime right after this, a sports update and whatever you would like to talk about in Viewer Takeover. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, Let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Here we go, everybody. It's overtime. A proud presentation of Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. What a perfect fit that is, isn't it? I know how cold it is there, but the kids are driving you nuts in Calgary and southern Alberta, so get them out of the house, get them to Overtime Hockey Lanes. Let them babysit the kids for a while. What do you say, Randy and Michelle? At Overtime Hockey Lanes, 28th Street Northeast, where skill and fun collide. Go check them out. Now is the time to be playing hockey indoors, right? Can't play it outdoors right now. Let me read some comments, and then I'll do a sports update, and then I'll come back to more comments. 902-518-3033 is the number, presented by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. Proud sponsors of our text line and the RP show. Please ask for them by name at your local beer, wine, and spirits store. We were talking about Travis Kelce. First season that he hasn't had 1,000 yards in 8 years. Finished 16 shy. Is Taylor Swift the reason? I just put it out there, mildly respectfully. Glenn, formerly of Moose Jaw, now of Regina, writes in. He says, not Swifty that's slowing down Travis Kelce. I think it's just age and injuries. It's quite amazing. The gym that we now belong to, Johnny O's Gymnasium here, is the home gym of Travis Kelce, Nick and Joey Bosa, Chris Carter. Yeah, and Travis Kelce's, I just saw Travis Kelce's, his coach, his strength coach this morning. I'm sure he would have the goods, the inside, but I didn't ask. Just easing our way into these things. But I say to Serena regularly, what a life, right? What a life. Kirk from Toronto writes in regarding the Miami-Kansas City game Sunday, where it's supposed to be minus 20 Celsius. Coldest weather game ever for the Miami Dolphins. That's all they're talking about here. And I would too. He says, hi, Rod. What are northern football teams supposed to do in the winter? Run to Florida? Miami blew it. Enjoy watching warm weather teams playing in extreme cold. Oh, they don't like it. They don't like it, and they lose. I just cannot see in any way that the Dolphins win this game on Sunday when they're preoccupied with the weather. Chiefs are laughing. I've been in that scenario. I've seen it. Darcy in Grand Prairie writes in, Alberta. He says, Aaron Rodgers is a truth teller. It goes against ESPN's woke narratives. Regular people love it. No, I know, bro. I know. But did we not learn in the pandemic and through life that they usually, the bosses always win? They always win. McAfee's not winning this one. He won't. I want him to. Trust me, I do. He won't. Even though, as Clark's told me, Aaron Rodgers is on there today. Kind of sounds to me like they have nobody knows what the hell's going on. That's what it sounds like to me, anywhere. David in Winnipeg writes in and says, Travis Kelce needs to break up with Taylor Swift so she can have some new material instead of making billions off her retreaded old stuff. By the way, she's not making any money off me ever, says David in Winnipeg. That's two of us, bro. And he says the Niners will trounce Kansas City if they were ever to meet in the Super Bowl. I'll remember that you said that. I probably will remember that you said that. Speaking of the breaking news, this morning, 6-time NFL champion Bill Belichick agreed to part ways as the coach of the New England Patriots, ending his 24-year tenure as the architect of the most decorated dynasty of the league's Super Bowl era. This will be Netflix documentaries. This will be DVDs if they still do it. Remember this day, Belichick out. It's never mutual, just so you know. But they have to say that it is. As my guy Johnny O said, Rod, you don't fire a guy like that. You don't fire a guy like that, Rod. Well, they did. You just don't say it. That's clearly what's happened. From the NBA, Kawhi Leonard scored 29 points after agreeing to a 3-year contract extension earlier in the day. Paul George added 29, and the Los Angeles Clippers rallied for a 126-120 victory over the Toronto Raptors on Wednesday night. Not a great Southern Alberta swing for the Raps. This sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. Beginning Friday, The Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham, Josh Hutcherson, Jeremy Irons, Dan Lee, Minnie Driver, and Felicia Rashad. In The Beekeeper, one man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after he is revealed to be a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers. From the director of Fury and End of Watch. In theaters Friday, The Beekeeper. I'm going to go to that, probably on my own. And the sports update's also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Folks, if you just can't get enough of us, check out our podcasts daily. Great work by the IKS crew and Moose, DuPont Media, getting it up. I listened to it today on the way to my club meeting. Jeff in Yorkton writes in, he says, CFL kickoff discussions for Football Friday. Sure. CFL, that's what's coming out of the CFL winter meetings, rule tweaks. I'm seeing the TSN people say, stop fiddling with this. It's not broken. But that's what we do on Fridays, is talk about whatever you want to talk about football related. We'll also do Deal or No Deal for Bet Regal for the NFL wildcard weekend and put a recap on those CFL winter meetings. We save it for Fridays. So thank you, Jeff in Yorkton, for pointing that out, where we are very big in Yorkton. Al Broderick in Winnipeg writes that he says, Rennie rocks. He's so good. Sean Reynolds, he doesn't get his due. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, Game Plus and Key Radio.
Who has more fun than us?